Hello, good morning, everyone. I want to thank God for waking us up today and leading us to this devotion. Uh, and I want to thank you for the commitment for waking up every day to turn up and get online to attend these devotions. And for those who always watch later, may God bless you abundantly for that still. So we are continuing with our journey of living and walking like Elijah did. Today is day 4, and we are running under the theme Repair the Broken Altars. Yesterday we learned about making a call, and after Elijah had made a call, we are going to continue through his story and see what is supposed to be done next. But before we go into that, let's humble ourselves and pray. Kind and merciful God in heaven, we glorify your name for waking us up today. For your mercies are new every morning, and great is your faithfulness. May you speak to each one of us on this call today and to everyone that will listen to this later, and help us to apply the lessons we are going to learn in our lives for your glory. This is my humble prayer by faith in Jesus' name. Amen. Our reading is taken from the book of First Kings. Sorry, there is a typing error there. Chapter 18 and verse 30. I'm only reading the last part which says, and he repaired the altar of the Lord that was broken down. Yesterday we saw that Elijah had progressed first. Ahab fearlessly asked him to call out the prophets of Baal, who were 450 in number. And he also made it clear that he was the only righteous prophet at that moment who was following the Lord Jehovah in the land of Israel at that moment. He had no backup. He was a one-man army. And he is giving all these instructions. Let's continue reading with verse 23, which says, "Therefore, let them give us 2 bulls, and let them choose 1 bull for themselves. Cut it in pieces and lay it on the wood, but put no fire under it. And I will prepare the other bull and lay it on the wood, but put no fire under it. And then you call on the name of your gods, and I will call on the name of the Lord, and the God who answers by the fire, he is God." So all the people answered and said, "It is well spoken." I love their confidence in this. They said, "Oh, this is as easy as doing whatever is very easy, and you've spoken, let's do." Now Elijah said to the prophets of Baal, "Choose 1 bull for yourselves and prepare it first, for you are many, and call on the name of your God, but put no fire under it." So we continue to see that he goes on, and so it was at noon that Elijah mocked them. Before we go into that, we see that Elijah sets the rules of this contest, but he sets them very high, though they thought it was something very simple, because they are given the choice. It's just as simple as setting up the bull, choosing it ourselves, setting it up, and calling on to fire. And they thought that was going to be as easy as it can ever be because they trusted their prophets. And he says, it's just simple. We're going to prove whichever God hears and answers through fire will be the right God. So we continue. These people thought it was easy. And so it was at noon that Elijah mocked them and said, cry aloud, for he is a God. Either he is meditating, or he is busy, or he is on a journey, or perhaps he is sleeping and must be awakened. So they cried aloud and cut themselves, as was their custom, with knives and lashes, until the blood gushed out on them. And then midday was past. They prophesied until the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice, but there was no voice. No one answered. No one paid attention. You can imagine having a God who is capable of sleeping. You can imagine what their God could have been doing at that moment. So they thought it was going to be very easy, but there was no answer from any of their gods. Um, he goes on and even mocks them and gives them further instructions, which they obeyed. He tells them, call out loud. They also obey and start calling out loudly. Yeah, they were so desperate. But then Elijah is still looking at them and saying, there is a God in heaven. Let's see. In Prophets and Kings, page 150, paragraph 1 says, gladly would Satan have come to the help of those whom he had deceived and who had and who sorry and who were devoted to his service. Gladly would he have sent the lightning to kindle their sacrifice. But Jehovah has set Satan's bounds, restrained his and sorry, but Jehovah has set Satan's bounds and restrained his power, and not all the enemy's devices convey one spark to Baal's altar. So let's see, the devil has the power to make miracles, but it's only when God allows. That's what Sister White is telling us here. Like, he would have done that. And they also had the confidence that it was possible that it would be done, but God restrains. He remains with the power to perform miracles. He had to prove this time round that this is a God. This is a creation, but sorry, this is just a mere creation. He's not a God that should be worshipped. It's only Jehovah who should be worshipped. These people are here to have a test and see and prove that indeed the Baals were nothing, but Jehovah is indeed the God of gods. So right now they are living in defeat. There is no fire coming out. Evening has come and time has really passed. Elijah said to all the people, come near to me. So all the people came near to him. And he repaired the altar of the Lord that was broken down. I want to ask a question. What do broken altars signify in our lives today, if we had to think about it? First and foremost, broken altars signify they signify defeat and death of a god. This is supposed to be a small g because it's a god, small god. Speak of weak gods of the past who are no longer alive or who no longer live. So we need to look into our lives and realize that sometimes we have broken down the altars of worship in our lives. Sometimes we are no longer considering the power of God. Sometimes we have changed and substituted the worship of God to other things. We may be having very many broken altars in our lives, but this is because we feel that God is no longer working. It might be that you used to worship God because he was supposed to give you a certain blessing that didn't work out, because you prayed a certain way and set boundaries for God on how he's supposed to answer your prayer, and because it wasn't answered that way, maybe the answer was there and it was an answer of wait. Maybe the answer was a direct no, and you feel that God was defeated because your prayer wasn't answered the way you expected, and you turned your altar upside down. You broke it down. I've met quite a number of people who tell me, I'm very angry at God. I'm so mad at God. I left church because the God was not worthy worshiping. God caused so many troubles to happen in my life. It's not right. God is still alive and he still lives in your life. There is God, no matter what. God is calling you today, my brothers and sisters, to repair that broken altar. He is not dead, he is still alive. I will ask, why did Elijah have to build this altar? Because when we read verse 31, the Bible tells us that Elijah took 12 stones according to the number of tribes of the sons of Jacob, to whom the word of the Lord had come, saying, Israel shall be your name. So we are saying we're having a flashback, a reminder of the history of the sons of Jacob. So we are having this represented on the stones that Elijah is using to construct the altar where he's going to make a sacrifice to Jehovah, to make an altar again to prove that the God who led the Israelites out of Egypt is still alive. That God we feel like is no longer in our lives is still living. He is not dead. He is still able to make a difference in our lives if we put our altars back and worship Him. We have very many broken altars in this day of AI. It could be technology that when you wake up, like we read on the first day, that God wakes us up every morning to hear His voice. It may be that you've substituted that hearing of God's voice with technology. That the moment you wake up, the first thing you look at is the updates of whatever statuses people might have put on their WhatsApp. It could be that you first check what news are happening around the world. It may be that you've substituted the altar of worship with your studies, with your too much busy schedule at work, with all these other things that surround us. But we are remembering from Elijah that we need to repair our altars. It's time to do a self search and know what is it that is bringing the brokenness of the altar that is supposed to be for God in my life. What is it that is substituting the quality time I used to have with God? Sometimes when there are moments through the Christian journey, there are always those highs and lows. There are times when you will have a 2-hour Bible study without getting tired. You are worshiping, you are praising, and there are days that even spending 10 days 10 minutes of undistracted time with God is really hard. Those are times when you need to know that your altar is falling apart and it's time to make sure that you put back the stones one by one so that your worship is put in order. Years back, I met this gentleman and we are talking casually. And he tells me how he lives his life. This is how the story went. He tells me I usually return home at around 4 a.m., take a shower, and take the children to school. And of course, I was inquisitive. I asked, why is it that way? He's like, I know my marriage is falling apart, and home is no longer a place for me to find peace. I can no longer stay in that home happily, but I have to always be there as a dad for my children. I have to take them to school. And then the next question was, where do you spend the rest of the night? His response blew me off because he said, I found a comfortable club. I stay in this club till morning, and when I wake up, when it reaches around 4 a.m., I go home, take a shower before the kids can wake up, and then take them to school so they don't have to know whatever brokenness is happening in my marriage with my wife or whatever differences we are having. I'm still keeping it away from them that we still have a home. So many homes are places where people go to eat, people go to sleep, people just go to shower and leave. Many homes are places where people find just mere entertainment, maybe with the kids, but the spouse is no longer someone they look forward to meet or see. Sometimes it's just a life that is broken apart, that is in pieces. I was talking to a friend last time and she was telling me, I don't know what it is, but I feel my life is all shattered down. I pray, but then I don't feel God anywhere in my life. She had just recovered from her cancer. She had been declared cancer-free, and she felt like, life is no longer worth living. Yeah, I've battled with this by God's grace and overcome. But instead of trusting the God who had taken her through the journey of cancer, she's now feeling like this is not a God worth worshipping because all the other things, other parts of her life had fallen apart. Her work is no longer good enough. She no longer has friends, and the family she doesn't understand, and she's very mad at her family members because they didn't stand with her through the cancer. But she's forgetting that God was there even when family turned away. It could be the same situation maybe you are experiencing today and feeling like so many things are not easy to understand at the moment. So many things are not as you expected them to be, and you feel like it's worth it putting away your altar. It's worth the Bible is no longer a place for you to find solace in. The Bible is no longer something you read to find the hope that you might have lost. Worship time is no longer something that gives you joy. But it's high time we remembered that there is a God who hears, there is a God who listens. When we turn to Him, like the spirit of prophets told us that there is God at that altar, it's high time we turn to it, repair it, and pray to the God of heaven, who will surely always hear us and answer our cries. Repairing broken altars varies from person to person. We don't have the same kind of baggage always. We have unique problems and unique challenges because we are unique human beings. So, no matter how scattered the stones may be, no matter how fragmented the family, God holds the key to everyone to worship Him. It doesn't matter how broken you feel. It doesn't matter how much you feel you've drifted away from God. He still has the key for you to worship Him. You may ask, where do I start from? It is acknowledging that the God of heaven still hears prayers, and the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is still alive. You can still go down on your knees and ask Him to repair whatever is broken in your life, and He will surely answer and work it out. You and God are more than victors. Come back, like He says in Isaiah, come, let us reason together. He is calling you this morning. Go to Him. Talk to Him like a dad. Tell Him, I've tried everything else and things may not have worked out. I now have no other option but you, my daddy. I have no other way to look. I have no one else to trust. But I believe that with you, we can work this out and fix it. So, my dear friends, this morning I want to remind us that it's high time we looked into our broken altars and fixed them by the grace of God. May God bless you all. Let's humble ourselves in prayer as we go into the breakout rooms. Father Divine, into your presence, I want to say thank you for speaking to us and for speaking through me, sinful as I am. Thank you, Jesus, because you've given us a privilege to break out and pray and bear each other's burdens. Pray for someone this morning. I pray that you hear all our prayers and answer them, and may the glory be unto your name. Thank you so much. This is